New on Curiosity Stream. How do you connect a 16th century potato to limitless energy production? Could Napoleon's toothpick have a direct link to a machine that predicts the future? And how can a 1700s conch shell chart a course to humans connecting their brains to the internet? James Burke's visionary series Connections returns for a new generation. Experience all new Connections. With monthly, annual, and bundled plans, find the one that works for you at curiositystream.com.
Did you miss your deadline to renew your Medicaid coverage? You can still send your completed annual review form to Healthy Connections Medicaid. You may be assigned to another health plan, but you can ask to come back to First Choice within 60 days of renewed Medicaid eligibility. It's your family. It's your choice. First Choice is the right choice. Renew and choose us. Visit selecthealthofsc.com/renew to learn more.
It's the pop culture field, and you will. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Pop Culture Field Manual Podcast. That doesn't really. Pop Culture Field Manual Podcast.
Yeah!
Yeah,
I love that energy, man.
That was actually pretty good.
Bringing that real leader.
I don't need these glasses. They're for blue light protection, and I don't need them anymore.
Nope.
I've decided that my eyes aren't sensitive to blue light.
Be strong.
That's right. We're sitting right at the intersection of weapons, military action, and the pop culture. I'm Israel Wright, and I'm going to sing this intro. I'm a former Green Beret, and with me, as always, is
Cameron Fab.
Yeah.
Who does not care about titles because I am awesome.
Oh!
Yes,
Except
look at
the
that.
title of awesome. That's the only title that you really
Is that
care
an
about is
awesome?
the awesome title.
Okay. Well, anyways.
Well, hey, speaking of amazing, saying amazing things, folks, you have reached the episode called Speechification. What is Speechification, you may ask?
Speechification is the act of speechifying and thereby inspiring others. It is a common trope in movies and particularly war movies, as we all know and love. So a hero gets up, gives a big speech, and everyone gets jazzed and goes to fight and destroy the enemy.
Kill many people.
Gives you, the viewer, goosebumps. So we wanted to spend today's episode talking about our favorite, make you all tingly moments in pop culture.
Good writing can stay with you like
It
for
can.
your whole life. I know movies that
yeah.
I still, and we all know movies that like have inspiring or iconic lines that like we may not have anything else in common whatsoever, but we can all love and remember a certain line. You know, like "I'll be back" or "For Frodo" or something like that.
And speeches are just elongated, amazing writing.
That's right. Yeah. Speeches are just monologues.
I don't know, man.
Speeches are like conversations, but with less interruptions.
Yeah. Pretty much when we were deciding to write this episode, or the idea for this episode came up, like an amazing speech popped up in my mind that even though, you know, reading about it back then, it had such an influence. It made me want to just start crushing skulls just knowing it.
Which one?
Oh, okay. I guess we're just diving straight into this.
I thought you were leading into it, man. I'm like, I'm inspired already by your inspiration.
Oh, no, dude. So everyone knows I'm a Gears of War fan, and Gears of War 2, right when you start the campaign, or you do the hospital scene where you're like fighting out of the hospital and shit, but then when the campaign starts, like the beginning of the cinematic, like awesome, where it says Gears of War on the screen, there's a speech being given by Chairman Prescott, and he's addressing all the gears, and it like starts out with him being like, "Humans are no strangers to war." And like you're just like, yeah, we're not, baby. We've been fighting since the fucking beginning.
Yep.
And even though like the speech is really geared towards geared towards their current survival, he's kind of addressing the current epidemic that is the locust invasion, and they're fighting the locust for pretty much survival. But that entire speech, regardless of like who it's aimed towards, and it's just so well done. And then by the end of it, all the gears are like, yeah, yeah, yeah. And you as the gamer are sitting there with your controller like, yeah, yeah, yeah. It's awesome.
There's something really great about any story, video game, movie, television show where the threat is an extraterrestrial or extra human threat, whether it's demonic or aliens or whatever, because like it's such a unifying idea. It's like we put away our petty squabbles and we unite against a
we
common
throw away
enemy.
our politics and our differences, and we unite against a common enemy, which is the locust. And I mean, the cool thing about this, I mean, I like aggressive speeches where it's just like, we're going to go and we're going to fucking get in there and we're going to tear them to pieces. So, I mean, where is it? Where does he say? He's like, soon. So he's like, even Jacinto, our last beacon of hope through all these dark days, is now at risk. Soon we'll have nothing left to defend, and that means we only have one option. Attack! Yes. Dude, it's so good.
We will go where they live, where they breed, and we will destroy them. This is the day we take back the battle to the heart of the enemy.
Yeah, it's good. And there's like little motivating music behind it, like
the music is essential.
It's a big
we can talk about that a little bit more if you want to, but like, the music that accompanies a speech.
Oh, big time.
Oh my god!
I mean, if you strip, I think music in general, like you look at a horror movie and you take away all the music and like what builds suspense and whatnot, it's not that scary. It's just like a startle.
It is a good tool. I wouldn't say it's an always necessary tool because you can actually play against it too.
Yeah,
like you can do like the,
why is this weird?
And then there's like it's a fake scare or something like that.
Yeah,
and then the real scare. But like no, music is it can lift you up. It can lift up your soul, inspire you, enrage you to attack an enemy. That's where heavy metal comes in.
Yeah. Dun 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 dun.
Yes.
No, this was an awesome speech, man. I mean, I'm
glad we started out with a video game too.
Yeah, absolutely. We have to. I mean, what do you got on this list here?
Well, I mean, we can go one to a classic one. It's right up there. President Whitmore's speech in Independence Day, where he's like, today we're gonna fight, we're gonna live on. Today we declare our Independence Day. What's the actor's name?
Bill Pullman.
Bill Pullman, yeah. Bill Pullman, President Whitmore, they have a plan, they're getting together, and he's out there on the airfield, and he's going to fly too. And I love it. It's so funny because it's like, it's a little cheesy to like work in the title of the movie into an independent into a speech.
It's very cliche.
But he does it. He does it well.
He does it in a very good way that makes it not cliche at all. It kind of gives the title of the movie some more.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
And he broadens it out to like not just the people of America, but the people of the world. He's like, we are fighting for our right to live, to exist. And should we win the day, the 4th of July will no longer be known as an American holiday, but as the day the world declared in one voice, we will not go quietly into the night. We will not vanish without a fight. We're going to live on. We are going to survive. And today we just celebrate our Independence Day. And everyone's like, yeah.
And I love how it's like the U.S. is taking care of it. Like, we didn't even collaborate as like an entire world.
We just made a plan and we said, hey, this is it.
Everybody, take a seat.
Yeah. America's here.
America. Lady Liberty's got this.
Yeah, and everyone just kind of gets on board because they're like, all right, America's got a plan. Sounds good.
All right, sounds good. We'll be here when the war is over, yeah?
It's not how you start, it's how you finish.
Yeah.
The Germans seem to say.
That's a good one, man. I mean, we've talked about Independence Day before.
Oh, yeah. It comes up often because it
has ultimate... we brought it up in the Ultimate Sacrifices one.
Yep.
And then now it's in the speeches one.
Yep.
So obviously there's a lot of inspiring... things that have to do with the human race coming out of this film.
Yeah, and that's again what I was talking about before, where it's like a unifying enemy. It brings everybody together, and it doesn't really matter what our petty squabbles have been. If we don't unite, we're all gonna die. You know what I mean? There's no like politicking or anything like that. And so
yeah, I mean that shares a couple themes with the Gears of War one, just because it's uniting against the aliens.
Yep, telling you. Yep, I think we'll probably see a couple of themes as we go through. Yeah,
nobody just does a speech, right?
Yeah.
Just because nobody does a speech unless there is some sort of adversity to overcome.
Yeah.
I mean, you look at every sports movie ever.
Yeah.
Like Friday Night Lights has some amazing speeches in there.
Yep.
What's the movie where we beat the Russians?
Oh, Miracle.
Miracle. There's a good speech in Miracle, like when they're sitting in the locker room. Like every adversity that needs to be overcome needs the catalyst is the speech. Otherwise, it's going to completely fail.
Yeah, it is. It's interesting because like, I mean, there's got to be something to that. Like in a movie, how do you encapsulate how do you encapsulate the moment right before like the big battle or the fight? Because it's usually like in the third act, right before the big battle. It's the penultimate thing where the guy gives a speech. Or for some amazing battle. I guess I'm thinking of Braveheart, which we'll talk about. But like, he gives that speech, that amazing speech, but it's kind of in the halfway part of the movie, the 3-hour movie.
You know, I just had a little epiphany, a little little ding light bulb moment, and I'm like, most great speeches aren't even supposed to be speeches. It's just some dude talking about something passionately, and everybody connects with it, and then boom, it's done.
It's a speech.
Yeah, it's not like everybody knows. It's
speech.
not like everybody's like, okay, you guys ready for the speech?
Oh, yeah, totally.
The speech. Here comes the speech. All right, everyone get ready to act real passionately.
Yep.
It's like, usually when like you're in school and someone's giving a speech, it's just like, oh, it's a fucking speech.
Yeah.
But like, I think true speeches that get remembered are unintentional. Like they aren't a speech. You're just somebody talking extremely passionate about, and you can connect with what they're saying.
Well, certainly. I think in a lot of the examples that we're going to talk about today, and then also like, in generally in pop culture references, it's not, this is the part, like they're not waiting for a speech. They get a speech, but they're not waiting for it.
Yeah.
There's some, I think, movies have the advantage of editing and lighting and music and a story and stuff, but like there's some good speeches out there that, are actually speeches like, the Admiral McRaven speech, the graduation speech about if you want to change the world, make your bed kind of thing, where he, like, that's like a 7-minute speech or something. That's a real speech that he gave at a graduation ceremony, Admiral McRaven. And that's something that I remember. We can talk about, the Patton movie, General Patton, he was known for his quips and his one-liners and stuff like that. And they have the movie that starts off with him doing, like, there's this amazing, it might be a one-shot speech, actually. I'm not sure. But, he's talking, all that kind of, and then he actually gave, was known for giving speeches like in real life, Chris, is this last one, you put that in there, the You May Be Thankful 20 Years From Now thing? Is that a real one or is that from the movie? So your granddaddy rode with the Great Third in the Army.
The speech from the movie is just like a condensed version of a speech that he gave numerous times.
Oh, okay.
But
it's been a long time since I've seen
that is actually not in the movie.
Oh, okay.
He says parts of it, but this is actually supposed to be taken from his actual real life speech.
Oh, cool. Nice. I like it. So I'll read a little bit here. You may be thankful that in 20 years from now, when you are sitting by the fireplace with your grandson on your knee, and he asks you what you did in the Great World War II, you won't have to cough, shift him to the other side knee, and say, well, your granddaddy was shoveling, I say poo, in Louisiana. No, sir, you can look him straight in the eye and say, son, your granddaddy rode with the Great Third Army and a SOB named George Patton. I love that. He was known for like the hardcore kind of. Is he the guy that says like, we don't want you to die for your country. It's your job to make the other guy die for his country.
Well, is that a Patton quote? Yeah,
it's a Patton. He's like, I'm not, we're not here to die for our country. It's your job to go and make that poor SOB over there, that guy, die for his.
No man ever, actually, let me look it up real quick just so I don't butcher it. But it's basically no man ever won a war by dying for his country. He won a war by making the other bastards die for theirs.
Yeah, that's right.
Now I'm looking up some of these famous quotes by Patton, and I probably should know more of these just because he was such a famous general.
He was a great speechifier.
And this one actually pauses. So number one here is a pint of sweat will save a gallon of blood. And it's like, that's funny because when I go to drill, I was standing outside this thing to a parade field, and there was an arch that went over the gateway, and it said a pint of sweat will save a gallon of blood on it. And I was just like, I wonder who said that. But that's cool. It's fucking Patton.
The Army, of course, lends itself to situations, especially in pop culture, where a speech is inspiring and stuff like that. Like we can talk. Let's talk about Braveheart, man.
Go for it,
dude. Braveheart, iconic, classic. I mean, maybe the best thing that why am I forgetting his? Oh,
Mel Gibson.
Gosh. Mel Gibson. Gee whiz, what's wrong with you today, man? I almost said Bruce Willis. I don't know why. The William Wallace. They'll never take our freedom speech, man. Where they're getting ready. This is one of those ones you're talking about where they're like not ready for, they're kind of actually not ready for battle, or they're not sure if they want to do it. They came to maybe surrender or maybe parlay.
Yeah.
And he goes there and he inspires them, and they see him for the first time and they're like, William Wallace is 7 feet tall. You know.
Yes, I've heard kills men by the hundreds. If he were here, he'd consume the English with fireballs from his eyes and bolts of lightning from his arse.
And they're like, no, you know, fight. He's like, will you fight? He's like, fight against that? No, we will run and we will live. And he goes, aye, fight and you may die. Run and you will live at least a little while. And dying in your beds many years from now, would you be willing to trade all the days from this day to that for one chance, just one chance to come back here and tell our enemies that they may take our lives, but they'll never take our freedom?
Nice, dude. Goosebumps, man.
That's
a great movie.
Even poorly bred like I did.
Yeah, no.
You
get the message.
If
you've seen the movie, you understand the passion behind it.
And that's when
because freedom is such a valuable thing.
Oh yeah, freedom is not free.
Yeah, freedom is not free, and you never know until it's gone. So when someone tries to take your freedom, that's when passion happens.
Yeah,
that's where the common enemy is.
Eternal vigilance is the price of freedom. They say.
Yes,
it never ends.
For those that are willing to sacrifice, freedom is yours. You just have to take it.
Yeah, take it. It's yours. It's yours. Oh, that's from.
What is that?
Eternity. Take it. It's yours.
That's Gladiator.
Or immortality. That's Troy. That's Brad Pitt.
Yeah, Brad.
He's like, immortality. Take it. It's yours. He's like trying to inspire his man.
And then he's just like, oh, the little kid saying, he's like that as well.
Oh, he's like, I'd be afraid to fight someone like that. He's like, that is why the world will never remember your name.
Yeah, that's a great one. Little boy, take that. Fuck.
Take that, nameless boy. Dude. Well, we got to talk about this one, man. You got to talk about this one. I love this speech, but I know that you love it more because it's Lord of the Rings. But it's Aragorn's speech from Return of the King.
Yes, when he's uniting to go support Frodo.
Yep. And Sons of Gondor, Rohan, my brothers.
My brothers. I see in your eyes the same fear that would take the heart of me.
Yeah.
A day may come when the courage of men fails, when we forsake our friends and break our bonds of fellowship. But it is not this day. Our wolves and shattered shields when the age of man comes crashing down. But it is not this day. This day we fight. By all that you own on this good earth, I bid you stand, men of the West. Yeah, dude.
Yeah. I love that.
It's such a and then he runs, and then he goes for Frodo.
Yeah,
right?
for Frodo. For Frodo. Yep.
For Frodo, and then starts charging the thing.
Well, now is that at the end, or is that when they're about to do the charge, or is that that's what's his name, King Theoden.
Theoden.
Theoden has a ton of great speeches.
Ride out with me.
Not all inspiring speeches. He does like lamenting speeches, but he does have that one where he hits all their spears and stuff. Yeah,
that's when they're before the charge, Minas Tirith, and they got out there.
That's right.
And then, dude, the best King Theoden speech. Well, it's kind of a speech is when they're like in Helm's Deep in the second one.
Well, it was the horse that was riding, or whatever, the rider, whatever.
Or they're like pushing the door closed, and they're being overrun by the Uruk-hai, and he's just like, ride out with me.
Yes.
Gets
like
on the wind blows. Yeah, there's so many good.
There's so many good speeches.
You can't bring it down, but the Aragon speech for the Men of the West is super good because they were super. Yeah, because they were super divided, and they brought together a common just to support Frodo. Mm-hmm. There's also a little speech that Aragon does when he's in the Mountain of the Dead. And he's like, "What say you?" Oh yeah. What say you? Speech?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, because he's like, "Who are you?"
Yeah, he's trying to call them out.
Yeah, he's like, "What say you?"
Yeah.
He's like,
and they laugh, and you think that they're not gonna.
Yeah, and then he's like, fucking brings the sword up to the ghost again. He's like, "Huh?"
Yeah.
That's such a good one, dude. Man, and then there's also the speech in Inglourious Bastards.
In the beginning.
Awesome. Yeah, in the beginning by Lieutenant Aldo Rain. And it's not even that big of a speech. It's more of a description, but it's so iconic and it's so well said.
Yeah, he's talking about what they're going to do, what their mission is.
And I love when he's like, he talks about his heritage. He's like, now I'm a direct descendant of the mountain man Jim Bridger, and that means I got a little engine in me. That part's awesome. And then he talks about the Germans, and he's like, and the Germans will be sickened by us, and the Germans will talk about us, and the Germans will fear us. And when the German closes their eyes at night, and they are tortured by their subconscious for the evil they have done, it will be with the thoughts of us that they are tortured with. They're so good.
That's some Quentin Tarantino. Yeah. That's some Quentin Tarantino writing at his finest. You know, he likes he's a fan of long speeches.
Yeah,
Very talky characters.
Very a lot of banter. A lot of banter in there, definitely. But I do like. We've talked about Inglourious Basterds too because it's one of my top 4 movies of all time. So I take a lot of joy reading these things, and the monologue is good. Mm-hmm. The monologue is so good. Next, if I pursued acting, I would do one of these monologues.
Oh man, yeah, no, these are monologues. Some of these, I'm trying to look at the list we have, but like, it's tough to do like the really iconic speeches because if you choose to do like, they may take our lives, but they'll never take our freedom speech for like an audition or in an acting class, like you got to bring it because you're going up against an iconic moment, like Mel Gibson, iconic actor and stuff, and that moment is seared in everybody's mind so strongly that it's like. I mean, it's like when you do like the Hamlet speech, like to be or not to be. Like when you do that, you gotta bring the best of who you are because it's been done by so many phenomenal actors,
Yeah.
So you got to bring that passion, you got to bring that belief, and stuff behind it. Whatever kind of speech you might be encountering.
Just got to stick for Ferris Bueller's Day Off beginning monologue. Stick to that. Not a lot of people do that.
Ferris Bueller's Day Off, man. That's a good speech. That whole movie is essentially a one long monologue or one long voiceover, for him.
Yeah, pretty much.
He looks always looking at the camera. I wonder how many people today have not seen Ferris Bueller's Day Off because we're pretty far out there, man. We're almost 40 years out.
I would say a lot
from that movie. I saw that when I was a kid in theaters.
I actually saw it because when I was a child actor. That was the monologue I did to.
Oh, really?
To get my childhood
actor agency.
You did
some acting.
Yeah, I did some acting as a child, and that was my monologue to try out for my agent.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. And I never watched the movie because I honestly didn't know how to do it. Yeah.
Oh man, have you watched it since?
Oh yeah, of course.
Oh okay, all right, cool.
His best friend's name's Cameron.
Oh, it is. Oh yeah, Cameron has a great speech at the end when he's like kicking his dad's car. He's like, "Who do you love? You love a car, Yeah. And then at the end, he's like, "I can't hide this," and. It's not so much of a long speech, but it's like he's come to a point where that he's finally going to take some responsibility and he's not going to let his dad walk all over him.
I like how we got from super famous speeches to Ferris Bueller's Day Off. Like super passionate, like ready to lead men into combat, and now we're just talking about Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
Well, let's get back on track, man, because we got a lot of good stuff here.
We do.
Stuff I want to talk about, like, I mean, obviously Tom Hanks' speech, Captain Miller's speech, Saving Private Ryan, when they're talking about, this is like when they're kind of getting their breaking point, right? They kind of had some infighting. They've had some guys die. They've lost some people, and they're like wondering, like, what are we even doing? Why are we going to get
this fucking Ryan
one
guy?
Dude? Yeah. And that's when he reveals, like, he's like the pool, that they were wondering what he did, and he just tells them he's like, I was a school teacher, But I love it when he's talking about, like, I like the part where he's like, if. He's like, so if I guess I've changed some. Sometimes I wonder if I've changed so much my wife is even going to recognize me whenever it is I get back to her, and how I'll even be able to tell her about days like today. Ryan, I don't know anything about Ryan. I don't care. The man means nothing to me. He's just a name. But if we're going to Romilly and finding him so he can go home, if that earns me the right to get back to my wife, well, then that's my mission,
Yeah, man I kill.
Yeah,
makes me feel less like home.
Yeah, every man. Yeah, at the end, every man I kill makes me feel further away from home. Yeah, the further away from home I feel. So it's not. It's like it is inspiring. It's not like a rabble rouser, Yeah. But it's like it solidifies his reason for why he's doing what he's doing and why he's not gonna turn back, because he kind of reveals the heart of his character. Like he does want to go home.
He doesn't want to be here, but. If this is what's going to allow him to get to his, get home to his wife, he's going to fucking do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good speech, man. And, Captain Miller in the beginning, just because everybody wants to know about their CEO. And, like, obviously, as an officer in that position, especially in a Ranger battalion, you're not buddy-buddy with your CEO. The CEO sticks to himself, and you just do what you want. Like, you're buddy-buddy with, like, your squad and maybe your platoon, but you don't talk to the CEO. So, yeah, they're all, like, trying. It's a very military-esque thing where, the CEO doesn't open up to anybody. He's not human. He is the leader.
He needs to be something a little more than just one of the guys.
He needs to be motivator. Yeah, he's not one of the guys. He is the leader, and that's why... a lot of the ways they talk to him, he's like, well, what if you were in my position? I'd be like, well, sir, I'd be like this, sir, this is an excellent mission, sir. And so that at that point, he shows a little bit of vulnerability.
Yeah.
He's just like, I'm scared too. He's like, even though I'm like supposed to be the guy that's never scared and to leave you, but he's like, yeah. He's like, I don't like this either, but it's gonna allow us to do what we need to do, so we're gonna do it.
That's an interesting point too that you make right there. It's a lot of times in the story, it's not so much that the words are inspiring, but it's who's giving them.
Yeah,
who's giving the speech, because it can be really poignant for if it's from like a leader, like who's showing vulnerability, like in the Saving Private Ryan one, or from somebody who has like this mystique. You never really, like Patton. I don't know much about Patton personally, but you just know him as this kind of iconic kind of World War II figure, and I wonder if that's not something that he tried to encourage, to like inspire his men and stuff like that, because maybe that's like sometimes when you're a leader, you understand the role of a leader, and so you want to like encourage that kind of perception of yourself, because that it inspires people.
It's like, where all these quotes come from. It's like, do you think they think they're going to be quotes in the future?
Right.
Things that this dude says because that's his character.
Right. It comes out of the overflow of who they are and stuff, and then it gets remembered. Obviously, like maybe for the writers, I don't know if we could get into their minds or something. When you write something like this, you want it to be authentically from who they are, but you're not thinking like "I'll be back" is going to be like that's going to be a line. That's a great line. You just try to get to know the person, or at least communicate something about the person, even if it's not maybe something that they might have actually said. But you're like, I need to communicate something about this moment, and I need to get this character to communicate the power of this moment for me. And then that ends up becoming they may take our lives, but they'll never take our freedom kind of thing.
Makes you think about like, what if you pass? Well, then what would people quote about you? You ever think about that?
I wonder. Man, I feel like everything that I've said in life has been a quote of something else. I steal everything.
It's just like music. Like there's going to be a point where music just becomes repetition of the old shit. Like you can't.
Oh man, I think we're way past that.
You think we're way past that?
Yeah. I mean, I think we've been recycling stuff for decades.
We're just recycling quotes now.
Yeah. I wonder, because I wonder if there'll be a time when somebody will say they may take our lives, but they'll never take our freedom, and people won't even know it was William Wallace that said it, or from the movie at least.
Yeah.
Who knows if the real William Wallace ever said that?
Banksy.
Yeah, Banksy said that. Wasn't that a Banksy quote?
I think George Clooney said that.
That's like when what is it? Kanye did that song with Paul McCartney, and they're like, "Hey, it's really cool of Kanye given that."
It was Post Malone.
Post Malone with
Ozzy Osbourne. They're like, "Wow, really cool that new artists like Post Malone giving these other guys a shot."
Yeah. So this is one of my favorite speeches because sometimes.
Hello, Saver. Whether you're saving for that trip to the tropics or saving for an emergency, now is the time to take advantage of Wells Fargo's savings options. Wells Fargo offers savings accounts that can help you save towards your goals. So, what are you saving for? Visit a Wells Fargo branch or wellsfargo.com/save to open a savings account today.
Wells Fargo Bank, N.A., member FDIC.
It's not the dialogue that is great. It is the actor that elevates the dialogue. To me, Pacific Rim, Stacker Pentecost has a speech, Idris Elba's character. And it's like, it borders
Idris
on...
Elba, so dreamy.
Oh, man. He's a great actor. But like, the speech is not that long. And it's meant to have like a build, and the dialogue is a little cheesy. I have to admit, I love Pacific Rim, but even I have to admit that the dialogue is a little cheesy. I mean, how can you sell, a line like "Today we are canceling the apocalypse"? It's like, ugh. But I think he sells it really well because he starts off kind of slow, today, and he kind of has a moment today, at the edge of our hope, at the end of our time, we have chosen not only to believe in ourselves but in each other. Today there is not a man or woman here that shall stand alone. Not today. Today we face the monsters that are at our door and bring the fight to them. Today we are canceling the apocalypse. It's like. Me just reading that, it's like, that's challenging. That's real. You need a good actor. You need a great actor to elevate that, that kind of, it's like Patrick Stewart, in Star Trek The Next Generation. You need that caliber of actor to bring up what might otherwise be considered pretty cheesy dialogue.
No, definitely. I mean, nobody thinks of Pacific Rim and they're like, you know what? Very inspirational.
Yeah, right.
It's not something you hear about Pacific Rim a lot. I mean, most of the time you think about inspirational movies, like it's going to be your football movies, like your Friday Night Lights, your Let's see. I got a whole ass list here. That I
Yeah,
looked up. I
sports
was,
and
looking
war
up-
are
sports
rife
and war.
with inspirational speeches.
Yeah,
and
the
stuff
replacements.
Like
Rudy, freaking.
Does he have a speech in Rudy?
There's
I was
a
trying to think
speech.
if there's an actual speech.
There's
that
a
he
speech
has.
in Rudy that the dude gives Rudy when he's is it the janitor or no? I don't know. But,
You know, that's a
Groundskeeper.
yeah, the
It's
groundskeeper.
the
Kind
groundskeeper.
of like.
that's an interesting point. You know, I think
Remember the Titans.
remember the Titans. Oh man, there's a lot of inspiring stuff in that entire movie.
A really good movie that's just full of speeches, and Dead Poet Society.
Oh,
Just because he's such an intellectual character that's a very big poet. That's a really big, just quotable movie.
I mean, it has the word
very
poet in the name.
Yes, it does. It's very poetic, very depth. I mean, Robin Williams as a character, rest in peace.
Yeah.
To Robbie. You're never, comedians aren't the happiest people in the world, I guess.
Oh man, rip Robin Williams.
Oh, yeah, the seize the day speech that
Yeah.
he does, that's really good.
Now let me ask you this: like, what differentiates between a speech and a monologue? I mean, I know a speech is one person talking; it is a monologue, but it's usually when we talk about a speech or an inspiring speech, isn't it usually to a group of people or like at least two or more people?
I would say so.
Because if it's
A
just
speech is
one-on-one with a person, that would just be like, I mean, you can inspire them, but it would just be like
Yeah.
an inspiring monologue, Because I'm sure that we could come up with tons of examples of like, inspiring lines that were said from one character to another, but we're talking about like speeches in terms of one guy or girl in front of a group. You know what I mean? Like, can I roll this one out?
Do it.
I mean, this one to me, maybe, well, if I had to end the show, we don't have to end, but I mean, the Henry V speech, from the Shakespeare play Henry V, like the St. Crispin's Day speech. And I'm thinking specifically of the 1989 film version with Kenneth Branagh playing King Henry. Because, man, Kenneth Branagh, man, nobody monologues like Kenneth Branagh, man. Like, he did his version of Hamlet. I'm sure he's done all Shakespeare plays at some time or another. Kenneth Branagh?
Yeah.
Dude, oh, man, you look him up. You look him up right now. I mean, he directed the first Thor movie, which is not like...
I'm trying to think of a movie he would know, and the first thing that popped in my head is he's the bad guy from Wild Wild West.
He is the bad guy from Wild Wild West. He is.
Spider legs.
Unfortunately, yes.
Spider legs?
He's Spider Legs, yep.
See, I knew he would know that
He's
one.
also the... which Harry Potter
this
movie is
guy?
he in? The second one. He's the Defense Against the Dark Arts teacher. Yeah, because there's a different one every movie, right? Yeah, Lockhart. Yeah.
What? Such an obscure dude to just be like, yeah,
Obscure, dude. Kenneth Branagh's been acting longer than you and I've
He's
been
the bad-
alive.
I know.
He's the bad guy in Tenet,
He's the bad guy in Tenet.
Really? I was in
a
that
movie you were in.
Yeah, he's
Okay.
he's the Russian guy.
Okay.
He's
Whatever.
the Russian oligarch.
Okay. Well, please don't let me stop you with my
Well,
ignorance.
now that we've taken the long way around helping you to know who Kenneth Branagh is, no, I mean the St. Crispin's Day speech is it's actually where Band of Brothers.
Yeah.
It's where we get that title Band of Brothers from. It's we few, we happy few, we band of brothers. Where he's basically they're getting ready to go to war with France, and people are talking about, oh, this is gonna be a rough day. He's like, no, this is gonna be a great day, and it's the same kind of thing where where he's talking about he's saying all the guys that are with him, and then anybody who might go home. Would hold their manhoods cheap that they were not here on St. Crispin's Day. It's a holiday, St. Crispin's holiday.
Holiday, yeah.
But it's a speech that he gives to inspire his army right before they go to war with the French, and it's Shakespeare. So it's just, I mean, the dialogue in Shakespeare is written in a certain way.
Yes,
but it's
Shakespearean.
It's Shakespearean, if you will.
If you will.
But it's completely. It's masterfully delivered by Kenneth Branagh in that version. You can look it up on YouTube. And others have done it, but like it's like I say, when you do something that's been done a bunch of other times, you got to bring it. And Kenneth Branagh, go do yourself a favor, man. Kenneth Branagh, 1989, Henry V movie, St. Crispin's Day speech. That is like the speech of speeches. That is a speech by which all other inspiring speeches must be measured, So, great one.
I think that's a good place to transition to our fan question of the episode.
No,
Oh, you're
I
not
don't want
done?
to. No, I got one
don't-
more.
You got one more?
We can't without this.
What is it? I thought you said we're leaving it on King Henry.
Well, I said I would like to. But I was saying we could also keep talking. But Henry V is so iconic. If we had to stop there, we could. But I don't want to. I want one more.
You want one more? All right.
You got to
I'll
give me
it
one
to you.
more. Okay.
And then we'll go to our
Then we'll go to our
question.
Sorry, fan question. You're going to have to wait a little bit longer. I want to talk about Captain Picard's speech from Star Trek First
Of course you
Contact.
do.
Yes.
Okay, here we go.
And what I love about this one is, it seems really inspiring. Like he has decided that they're going to make one final push because the Borg have taken over the ship, and they're going to push back. And people are saying, like, we should abandon ship. He's like, no, we're not going to abandon ship. And then the other character, Lily, comes in, and she's like, what are you doing? She's like, Captain Ahab, you're just like Captain Ahab. He's like, what are you talking about? This isn't about like petty revenge, and stuff. And she's like, that's absolutely what it's talking about. He's like, we're in the future, we're more evolved. We've done away with these petty concepts like revenge. She's like, you're full of BS, man. I know you're doing this because the Borg hurt you. He was captured by the Borg and turned into a Borg at one point, and he still suffers like the PTSD of that experience. So she's like telling him to blow up the ship, and he's like, no, and he smashes the display case with all the different Star Treks, like all the Enterprises in it and stuff. And he's like goes into his speech. No, I will not sacrifice the Enterprise. We've made too many compromises already. Too many retreats. They invade our space and we fall back. They assimilate entire worlds and we fall back. Not again. The line must be drawn here, this far, no further, and I will make them pay for what they've done. Now, what I like is obviously Patrick Stewart is an amazing actor who delivers the speech very well, and it seems inspiring, but what it is, it's really just, it's very selfish.
He's just ranting.
He's just he just wants to get revenge, and it makes it seem like, we're not going to fall back anymore, but it's like he says at the end, he's like, I will make them pay for what they've done. He's not talking about what they've done in a planet-wide kind of universe. He's like, what they did to me. I'll make them pay for what they did. And it's good. And that's when she says something. She sees the broken. She's like, you broke your little ship, and watches away. Yeah. Or she walks away, and he finally realizes that he's been selfish and he has to get rid of the ship. He has to abandon the ship. So anyway, that was my final entry into the series for this episode. I'm sure there's lots of more speeches that we can
there's a fuck ton, man. And if you guys have any great speeches in mind that we haven't covered, let us know by emailing us at pcfmpodcast@gmail.com. But without further ado, we are going to honor some of the brave folks that decided to go that route and send us a couple questions. And we have one. We're doing 2 questions today. Mm-hmm. One from Instagram.
The first question's a bit of a joke. That's why I included a second.
I see. Okay, but still, we have 2 questions today. One's from Instagram and from Polt.rylover.
Poultry lover.
Okay, that makes
way to
sense.
be original.
Okay, and they wonder, who do y'all think would win in a fight, Bob Ross or Danny Glover?
I like the combination. I don't know where you get the thought of Bob Ross and Danny Glover. Like
Danny
Glover at what age?
Yeah, are that there?
Because Bob Ross, he ain't fighting nobody.
Their question actually was very specific to Danny Glover, Predator 2.
Oh, Danny Glover, Predator 2.
They give their reasoning kind of why they pick those 2 people. It doesn't make a ton of sense. Sorry, poultry lover. Chicken lover. But yeah, so think Predator 2.
All right. Well, I mean, here's the thing. Bob Ross, he was in the Air Force for a little while. But
that doesn't mean that doesn't mean shit.
It might even actually count against him.
Yeah. I'm going with Danny Glover, first of all.
If we're talking about Danny Glover from Predator 2, absolutely Danny
absolutely.
Glover.
He would beat the shit out of Bob Ross.
He was an action hero back then.
Did you watch the documentary about Bob Ross?
Oh,
At the end of the day, dude was a coward.
Dude got pushed around.
He got pushed around.
Man.
Yeah, he's got no backbone. He was in the Air Force. I mean, he's a beautiful painting, don't get me wrong. But he's a pacifist.
Yeah, he is.
He'll get his ass whooped by Danny.
It's not even a contest.
Danny Glover would absolutely beat the shit out of Bob Ross. And I would love to see that
if he were still alive.
Rest
Danny
in peace,
Glover
Bob Ross. I'm sorry what happened to you in that documentary. It's very sad.
Very sad.
Very sad.
Read those contracts, folks.
Yeah, read those contracts before you get into them. But yep.
This is
Danny Glover.
So let's do the real one then.
And this one.
Yeah, this one is from Robert B. Who are your heroes, your role models, people that are major influences in your life? This can be real life people or even fictional people, but who are the people who motivated you guys and inspire you aspire to be like? Sorry.
Now, first off, I'd just like to thank me for being me. Second, I'd like to thank me for being such an influential character. I'd like to thank me for always pushing myself to be the best and the greatest. No, it's not how it works. But that's a good question. I mean, I wish I had, enough time to thank all the people that
major influences in your life, whether real or fictional.
It was really funny, and I feel like I only have a very few people that I like truly look up to or want to be like. And when I was in grade school, you know, your 5th grade graduation, they're like, pick your hero. And I didn't know I didn't have a hero. So I was just like, Alex Rodriguez. And I didn't even watch baseball or anything. And
A-Rod?
Yeah, A-Rod. And now not so much, but because I played baseball as a kid and I just didn't know shit. So I was like, Alex Rodriguez. Because I was a third baseman too. And I was like, yeah, cool, man. But actual people that truly influence me, I think I have different role models for. I don't think there's one perfect.
Right,
specimen.
you have different role models. I feel like I have different role models for different aspects of things that I want to improve about myself or things that I would like to accomplish. You know, like I'm remembering when I was like a teenager, like Captain Jean-Luc Picard was like a big figure because like he was older and he was wise, but he was also take charge and he was active. Like he wouldn't just always sit on the bridge. He'd go out and do missions and stuff like that. Yeah. And he had like integrity, you know? And so I was like, oh man, I want to be like Captain Jean-Luc Picard, you know?
Yeah, I think as far as like, who are your heroes? That's a good question.
I'm trying to think of real life people, you know, like if I took one, there's the story of Roy Benavidez, the Green Beret who got the Medal of Honor for actions in Vietnam. Like every time I read his story, I instantly tear up. Like to imagine the things that he did and he went through in that like 6 hours that he volunteered to go and rescue that team, and that helicopter got shot down and he got like stabbed and shot and blown up, and he was running from place to place, helping people, coordinating people. It's just like this massive Herculean effort, you know, getting to like a hand-to-hand combat with a Vietnamese dude, you know, and then like shooting and getting just shrapnel and everything. It just seems like he went through everything. It was like a superhuman feat, and like that to me is like something to aspire to. That self-sacrifice, anything have to do with self-sacrifice, you know me, like it's just tearjerker. You know?
I got you.
Putting himself out there.
I think definitely like every like squad leader I've pretty much had either negative or positive has been a role model for me.
Who to be like and who not to be like.
Who to be like and who not to be like, or to take aspects. I think I like, you know, as far as a motivator, I think David Goggins for me is a motivator. Okay. As far as like individual characteristic, I don't believe he's, you know, his train of thought for inner human connection is correct. But as far as just his philosophy on like physical activity and like getting after it and not being lazy, I do connect with that, and I think it's very motivating. But I have heard that he's not a nice guy to be around because he doesn't believe in having friends. He's just like, if you have a goal, you stick to yourself, you fucking do your thing. It's funny. I don't believe that's true.
Not so. And now we're talking like not so much specific people, but certain aspects of specific people. Like you take, I don't like the whole person, but I like that he does this way.
Yes.
You know, and you kind of take that out. I like there was a period of like 4 or 5 years that like when I first heard about like Jordan Peterson, you know, like not that I don't admire him these days, but it's just like he's not like on the forefront of my mind anymore. But like there's a lot of stuff that I was like questioning, and you know, he came up with a lot of stuff around that time in his book and things like that, 12 Rules for Life and stuff. It was good. It was just what I needed for a certain amount of time in my life that kind of inspired me and gave me bravery, you know.
I don't want to be like any one person. I definitely love taking aspects of different people in a way.
Sure.
Which is, so I can't honestly answer that question because I don't believe that one person is like.
Well, I mean, listen, if I'm going to get like down and dirty, Jesus Christ is my Lord and
Jesus
Savior.
Christ!
And in any way that I can be like him, absolutely every day of my life. In addition to that, Jordan Peterson, Roy Benavidez,
yes.
and you know, Ferris Bueller from Ferris Bueller's Day Off. That carefree attitude.
Exactly.
It's going to be okay.
Awesome. Well, we hope that answered your question, Robert. I know I didn't give you a straight, but it was. Thanks for letting us ponder a little bit. I definitely have to think about more about who I want to be like in real life, but I can't really think about it because I just want to be Cameron Fan.
Yeah, I don't want to be the next person, the next whatever. I want to be the first me.
Yeah. Oh, that's good.
It's a good line.
That's a good one. See, when you either quote that, unless you stole that from someone.
I probably stole it from somebody.
You probably stole that from someone. But let's move on to our game.
Okay, let's do it, man.
Chris, what do we got for the game today?
I feel like I've been, like some of the games have been a little rough on you guys, so I'm going to take it easy on you.
Aw, thanks.
Give us an extremely hard game.
This one is called Francissimo. And it's really simple. I'm going to give you the name of a movie or video game franchise, and you have to tell me how many movies or games are in the franchise.
Franchise.
Now, these are main movies and games. Francissimo. because I'm not a masochist, I'm not going to make it. My example is Star Wars. I'm not counting Rogue One or Solo or any of the shows or anything.
Canon films.
Just like the linear. When I say Star Wars, I mean the
9 films.
There's 9.
Yeah, okay.
They're on the 9th one, right?
Yeah, they just finished the 9th one, yeah. Okay. Who else? Yeah. Who knows what's going to come out next?
I hope it stops at 9. Okay. So the warm-up is Speed.
Speed.
The Speed franchise. How many movies are in the Speed franchise?
There 3 of them?
I think just 2.
I think there's 2.
Yeah.
The answer's 2.
Hey.
Oh, okay.
That's the warm-up. So you get the game. Nice and easy.
Yes.
See?
Bonus points. Bonus points. What's the tagline for the first one or the second one? Or the extra title?
Speed 2.
Speed 2.
Cruise Control.
Cruise Control. There you go.
Yeah, I was going to get that. Jason Patrick. Come on.
Jason Patrick.
Here we go. First one. Final Fantasy.
I mean, I think 15.
You think there's 15?
Yeah, there's
definitely more than.
I know that I've seen
3.
Final Fantasy 15, but I'm thinking of like all canon movies, but I think there's been 15.
All right, let's go with your.
Probably more.
That sounds right. 15.
Okay.
It's 15.
Hey!
Nice.
There have been others.
But
not the main
different
canon.
platforms, different games.
Platforms.
We don't count Crystal Chronicles.
Yeah. Little spin-offs. Don't count remakes.
Yeah, no remakes.
Or remasters. Okay. Fast and the Furious.
Oh, we just had this conversation while filming. There is a lot.
What's the one that just came out?
Fast 9.
Are you sure?
I
Is
mean,
that the
but
one where they go to
spin-offs,
space?
But there's
there are spin-offs like Hobbs and Shaw.
Fast 9.
We're talking
so
main
there's
line.
9.
Okay.
Fast and Furious.
There are 9.
Yes.
Hey, you are taking it easy on us.
You're 2 for 2.
Yes, they're on R9, but there's a bunch of spin-offs. Yeah. Remember, our cameraman was a Grant. Was it?
Oh, he's the biggest fan. Yeah, Fast and Furious fan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In the world.
The biggest.
He realized, he's like has a very convincing case of why those movies are amazing.
Yeah. It was pretty good.
I would love to never hear that. Okay. Resident Evil movies.
Resident Evil movies. 1, 2, 3,
6.
4, 5. 1, 2, 3, I'm gonna say 7.
You say 7?
Because I'm thinking of the Mila Jovovich, and then Welcome to Raccoon City. I think there's 6 Mila Jovovich ones, if not 5. You know what? I'm gonna say 6.
I'm gonna say
there's
6.
5 Mila Jovovich and 1 Raccoon City. Welcome to Raccoon City.
There's 7.
7.
Your initial thing was correct.
Oh man. Not counting animated movies.
No.
Well, like Amy signaling me with her.
All right. Resident Evil games.
Okay, so I'm playing Village, which would be 8.
And that's the most recent one.
That's the most recent one. So I'm going to say 8.
I'll go with that, yeah.
It's 7.
What?
I don't count Resident Evil Village. There's 28 games total.
Whoa, 28 games?
There's 28 Resident Evil games. But that's remakes. That's like...
Yeah.
Yikes.
Why 7? Why? Just because it hadn't...
Because it only goes up to Resident Evil 7.
But Resident Evil Village is the 8th one.
Then I'll count 8. You get it right.
Boy, okay, you're really taking it easy.
Well, I don't... It got really confusing when I was looking at video games.
Okay.
Video games were very confusing. Movies, a lot easier.
Because they have alternate titles and stuff like that.
Yeah, there were some where it's like there's 2 games and then they combined the 2 to make 1 game for a U.S. release as opposed to a Japanese release. And so it got a little messy, which we'll get into later in the thing.
All right, cool.
James Bond.
Oh my gosh.
This is going to sound silly, but was the last one Casino Royale?
No.
Okay.
That was like 3 movies ago.
Really? Shit, yeah.
It went Daniel Craig is Casino Royale, Quantum of Solace, Skyfall, Spectre,
Adele, Spectre.
and Not Die Another Day.
No Time to Die.
No Time to Die.
That's the latest one.
So that's 5 just with Daniel Craig. I'm thinking there's like 27 or something like that.
Oh, even like old ones?
Yeah.
With,
Yeah, all the James Bond movies.
every single one.
Where it's James Bond in the title.
Okay, and that's 5 just with Daniel Craig.
Just Daniel Craig.
Okay, I'm going to say 19.
Okay. I'm going to say 27.
Now, this actually has 2 answers.
What?
There's 27 total, but technically you're not supposed to count the original Casino Royale with David Niven, and you're not supposed to count Never Say Never Again, which had Sean Connery coming out of retirement because those weren't like sanctioned. Technically, they weren't James Bond films. They weren't like Ian Fleming's James Bond, So there's 25.
Oh, okay.
But There's 27 total, yes.
Okay.
So
Oh my
good
God.
guess. Yeah.
All right, well,
See, I just was shot in the dark. You were there.
I thought 25, and I said I'm just going to add 2 more.
Oh, see? I would have taken either.
All
Wow,
right.
that's impressive.
All right. Die Hard.
Die Hard.
2. So Die Harder,
Die
with
Harder.
a
Die
Vengeance,
even harder.
Live Free or Die Hard, and then the one where he's in Russia.
There's 4, right?
I'm going to say 5. Because there's Die Hard with a Vengeance, Die Harder, Die Hard with a Vengeance, Live Free or Die Hard, and then, I don't know, whatever. Not
So
a good,
5?
A Good Day to Die Hard or something like that. 5. I'm going to say 5.
Okay, I'll go with that.
It's 5.
Hey! The
Ah,
one with
and-
Jai Courtney's the last one he did.
Yeah, that's A Good Day to Die Hard, which only the first one ever felt like a Die Hard movie. The rest felt like movies that someone else wrote, and they're like, well, we're never going to get this made. And they're like, make the lead character's name John McClane and put Bruce Willis in it.
Yeah.
And then they did, and it got made
Oh my
because
God.
it has nothing to do with him.
True.
All right, and the last one is probably the hardest one. Legend of Zelda.
Ugh.
So this isn't including ports, remakes, or spin-offs, but it is including Japan-only titles.
Whoa. Gee whiz, man.
This is the one where I was like, I don't even know how to
Link
count
the
this,
pa-
so
yeah.
I'm sure some listeners will be
Link
like, wrong.
Link to the Past. Man, there's like, Wind Waker, Skyward Sword. There's, Majora's Mask.
You should just throw out a number.
I'm going to say
12.
I'm going to say 15.
I counted 18.
18?
Yeah. But I'm not going to list them all. So you're just going to take my word for it. Or write us in and tell me why I'm wrong.
4 Swords.
I mean, I'm glad you didn't do
So
like.
actually-
Ocarina of Time.
I'm glad you didn't do like
Twilight
Mario
Princess.
or something. Do
3.
you mind doing like Super Mario Brothers or something?
4,
There's been a lot.
5.
I think there's been more Legend of Zeldas, actually.
If I count your original answer on the Resident Evil one, you only missed 1.
Oh, wow.
So,
It is, man.
Whoa.
see, I took it easy on you.
Wow.
All right, congratulations.
Thanks, Chris. That was
I
a good
needed,
one.
I needed something to be like, hey, you're not a retard.
Well, folks, that's it. That's all we got for you. Thanks for joining us for this episode of Pop Culture Field Manual Podcast. New episodes every Wednesday. Be sure to
Yes.
check out our YouTube and subscribe there. Like and share and blah, 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 because we get the visual versions of each episode with extra stuff.
Yes, sir.
If you want to write us an email, send an email to pcfmpodcast@gmail.com. And you can check us out on our Instagram, PCFM Podcast. You can check me and Cameron out on our channel, Shift Fire, on
Yes,
YouTube,
sir.
where we explore and appreciate all things military pop culture. Or military culture, sorry. Not pop culture, military
that's
culture.
That's this show.
That's this show. Different shows. And you can hang out with me at twitch.tv/myhappyself. I stream live 3 days a week, usually Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. So.
Yes, and if you want to see more from me or hang out with me, you can come over to my Instagram, Cameron C. Pfaff, or go to my streetwear page, Kick God Apparel on Instagram, or our website, www.kickgodapparel.com. Thanks for listening, folks. Till
Cue me-
next,
oh.
till next
Thank
time.
you. Hello.
Hello. Cue music.